All right. Jackie Bruno is unapologetically herself. This fearless entrepreneur and woman's advocate has recently transformed her life and career by following her gut. Last summer, Jackie left her longtime career in television news to start her own company called Newsmaker Marketing. Her goal was to reinvent PR for the digital age by employing journalists and news photographers to tell a company story directly to their own media while still pitching the company to traditional earned media opportunities. It only took 1 month for Jackie to accumulate a large book of business, and over the last year, she has prided herself on running Boston's fastest growing PR and marketing agency. Despite her success, Jackie knew she had to share the story behind that change with others. She penned a personal essay for Boston Magazine, and that's where I found her, about how she burned out in TV news, took a mental health break, and relaunched her career with her own company. This article has been read by hundreds of thousands of people and it was one of Boston Magazine's most successful articles of the year. Jackie knows the value of authenticity and vulnerability, and she is not afraid to share her own struggles. She also has established a vibrant community to help women throughout the greater Boston area. In 2020, she launched the Connect Her, a women's group that connects women across different industries and generations to improve their professional and personal well-being. The organization does not charge for membership, sign up ladies. Instead, it simply sets up gatherings for women to patron local businesses together. For the cost of a cocktail, you can mix and mingle with the best and brightest of Boston. This organization is not about what you wear or how successful you are. It's about connection and the understanding that we can all lift each other up, says Jackie. Jackie credits her past in pageants for inspiring her to create the Connect Her. This former Miss Massachusetts USA saw the value of female friendships during her time in pageantry, and she wanted to find a way to give that support to other women. She's a perfect speaker for today. In addition to her crown, which I didn't get to share at my table, but I wanted you to know when I grew up I wanted to be a princess. That's what I wanted to be. And my sister's in the audience, she just said you are. I don't know. Thank you. In addition to her crown, Jackie also has 3 Emmy Awards that she won during her career anchoring and reporting for NECN and NBC 10 Boston. This lifelong Massachusetts resident believes you've got to be your own biggest fan to succeed in a state as competitive as the Bay State. She is thrilled to be able to use her own skills to highlight the brilliant brand she's working with at Newsmaker Marketing. And when she's not working, Jackie loves to spend time with her family and friends, including her beloved sons, Jack and James, and her Shih Tzu buddy. BFFs, please join me in welcoming Jackie Bruno to the microphone.
Hours, I sang on the phone and had a real therapy session together, so it was wonderful. So I'm really excited to be here today. Thank you so much for having me. And the reason why we thought, what do you want to do when you grow up, will be the right question to start talking about is I think we all have this idea. When we were really little, it spoke to our personalities. We started, thinking about what our futures would be. And some of us really doubled down on that, right? Maybe you're still what you thought you were going to be, and maybe you think about what you thought you were going to be, and you're like, well, that was crazy. Well, I'm going to redefine what that question means, because when I was younger, I would say I want to be a lawyer because I like to argue, and then I would laugh, which maybe I should have been a comedian instead, but eventually I discovered all the paperwork that was involved in that, and I decided that was not for me. And I quickly realized I wanted to be a journalist, specifically a broadcast journalist. And if you are like me, where you're type A, if you're in this room, you probably have some type A inside you because, hey, you're putting yourself out there, you're probably involved in either your own business or helping to promote another business, and you definitely probably follow the rules, right? Especially as women, we're always focused on trying to do everything right. And I really wanted to do everything right. So this idea of what do you want to be when you grow up, when I decided that it was definitely a broadcast journalist, It became a personal life sentence for me in a way. I really doubled down on it. I went to Boston University, which was my first choice because I had studied in some of their classes there, even in high school, so what a nerd. I was both a newspaper nerd. I spent weeks at internships from high school through college, local PBS station, NECN, and really devoted myself to learning the craft of news. I did give myself a little wiggle room to do pageants, as was described, and I did win Miss Massachusetts USA, and eventually made the top 10 at Miss USA, which I was actually pretty pissed about. I wanted to win, because we're all competitive probably too, and I don't like to quit at things, so thank goodness that's a one-time only thing, otherwise I still might be trying to become Miss USA, which at the age of 38 maybe not the cutest thing to keep doing. So, and my mother actually told me, I remember I was about to get my title, and I suddenly had an epiphany. So the first time I kind of thought for myself in quite some time, I thought, I'm gonna be a ballroom dance instructor. Because I had just done this Dancing with the Stars event, and I was naturally pretty good at it. And I thought, well, I'm probably gonna make what, like 30, 40 grand, my first job in TV news. I'll probably do that in ballroom dancing, and I'll stay in shape and get to wear really tacky outfits, but it's okay. And it sounded amazing. And my mom said, I did not pay for you to go to Boston University so you can become a ballroom dance instructor. And she also informed me that nobody cared that I was Miss Massachusetts, so what was that going to do next? Gives you a real background into my upbringing. She meant well, of course, and you know what, honestly, it was the truth. After I gave up that crown and sash, I had to figure out what else I was going to do with the rest of my life. And I was getting paid to be Miss Massachusetts, so I really needed to figure that out. So I delved headfirst into TV news. I sent out, back then, CDs of my reel to almost every station known to man. It was 2008, a terrible time to be looking for your first job. And I remember going to the post office in my hometown of Sonoma, Massachusetts, and they said, well, where are you sending them to today, Jackie? And I said, Alabama, Arkansas, and Alaska. All the A states, because basically they're all the places I don't want to go, and that's probably where I'll go. And as I was leaving, I got this call from a news director in Springfield, Massachusetts, and he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm actually mailing out more reels to news directors all around the country. And he said, well, stop, I'd like you to come in for an interview. And that's where I got my first job. Worked out there for 3 years, and it was hard. Very little money, but I learned a lot. And since I had nothing better to do in my 20s than work nonstop, holidays, weekends, overnights, mornings, evenings, I was living my dream. And then I got my first job in Boston. Things are going according to plan, guys. Woo! I even met a cute guy. We are engaged. Things are going great for me. I had no money, a toxic boss, and I had to live somewhere basically where there were a lot of murders to cover. But at that point, I thought I was on the right track. Other people, though, were quickly reconsidering life in TV news, and I thought, well, they're just not strong enough to hack it at this, and I'm going to keep going. My dream of becoming the next host of the Today Show was really in sight, in my opinion. And what did I do? Well, I took advice that you so often hear. They say, you should take the road less traveled, right? Like it's supposed to be hard. Well, it's not supposed to be that hard, guys. Like, I really feel like we tell people that whatever is worth having in life, it should be like, nose to the brimstone, the hardest thing in the world. Now we're finally figuring out that the universe might be trying to tell you something. Yeah, the universe was definitely banging on my door going, this is not for you. But I was ignoring it, and I was persevering. And here's the other problem. I wasn't really naturally good at live shots. I really love telling stories, but having to run to the middle of something terrible and say what was happening in front of a camera, my ADHD started going wild. I would be thinking about, I wonder who's watching right now. Or I wonder if I forgot to, get my things out of the dryer wrap. Like, oh my God, hi, recording live from. So I would bomb a bunch of live shots, and that was not good. So soon I got a reputation for not being very smart, which was frustrating because I knew I was smart. I just had terrible ability to pay attention. I knew, though, at my base that I was a great storyteller. I was a great salesperson, actually. And I had a decent personality. So what could I have done with all three of those things? helpful in TV news, and as you heard from my bio, I was able to get a job in Boston. I did everything from the weekend evening anchor to becoming an entertainment reporter, and that was probably my happiest time in news. I got to actually find my own stories, and I really got to delve into my own voice, and that was probably the happiest time, and that's when I won those 3 Emmys. But the problem with TV news is that in the 10 years I was at NBC Boston and NBCN, we had 5 different management teams. And during that time, we saw a lot of people fired who were great at their jobs. So I talk about trauma a lot, and I don't think that we should have minimized a little trauma, basically. I also was a reporter at the Boston Marathon bombing and saw horrific things. So whenever, you talk to a therapist and you tell them that, they're like, PTSD. Definitely. Easy to diagnose. But we really don't talk about the kind of PTSD that we have in our everyday lives. Seeing a friend lose their job because of a change in management, right? Subjective things, that it just hurts. Getting that first phone call when you're not in the office from someone who says, "I'm just fired," and they can barely speak. And then you're the survivor, and you have to go back in there and keep serving this system. And it was really difficult for me. But what did I do, guys? What I always did, I doubled down. I worked even harder. I was going to prove that I was worthy. And so when this last manager came in and basically told me that there was nothing else beyond what I was already doing at the station for me to do, and when I was trying to get jobs at other stations, they can say, "Oh, Jackie, she's just not the right type right now." And I was like, "Well, I'm type. I have more contacts. I've done all the work. I've proven myself time and time again, but now there's another hurdle. I just can't change who I am." So finally, I had a hurdle that I could not jump over. And that should have probably gave me some clarity. Instead, what did I do? I totally broke down. I retreated to the dressing room that day and let out the amount of tears, probably all the water in my body, probably. And I'm sorry, I have like my things. I'm just going off the cuff from these guys. I basically totally broke down. I got a call from a life coach, miraculously, in that very moment. She'd been kind of harassing me, wanting me to talk to her and help her with her business. And I thought, I can't help you with your business. I am falling apart. The last thing I can do is help anyone else. And she said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I just need 2 effing," very sexually, said the word because I was at a moment, weeks off. And she goes, "Well, why can't you do that?" I said, "Well, you never get 2 weeks off with TV news." And she said, "Well, you should go to the doctor." I had a bad cough, a head cold, I don't know. It was basically my body basically was shutting down too. And she said, "Well, you sound sick. You should go to the doctor." So what did I do? I actually listened to that life coach. Great, she's really good at her job. I went to the doctor. I got a note, and I got 2 weeks off for a mental health break, which then became 3 months off, which you have to really document that stuff, guys. It was not something that you could fake. I spent those first 2 weeks in my bed, completely unlike anybody I had ever met. Scaring my family pretty badly. They did not ever know what to do with me because I had never been like this before. And quite frankly, I didn't know what to do myself. I had never done like this before. And I always had a plan, and I always just kept doubling down, and I no longer had the energy or the will to double down. I just needed to sleep. And so that's what I did. And then after about 2 weeks, I realized I needed more time. That's when I applied for an extension. And that gave me a month off, and that gave me a little bit of a realization that I had to focus on figuring out this age-old question. What do you want to do when you grow up? I thought I knew. And now I'm not doing that anymore. News had changed greatly. I had made my decision to be a broadcast journalist when Peter Jennings was still on the news. My grandfather trusted everything he said. And my news career was ending at a time when people were yelling at us while we were out covering whatever story and screaming fake news at us. And I'm like, not me, I'm really trying to be so unbiased here and do the right thing. And it was just, there was no glory left in it anymore. And that's really the only thing we had left to hold on to. So it was a tough time for journalists. So I hope when you think about this story, you think less critically of the news, and you think about those who are still staying in there. Because I do believe that journalists are passion-driven people who are trying to do the right thing and trying to get the stories out there that we as Americans so badly need to know. And it's up to us to figure out where the bias is, right? And be better consumers. So that's kind of a little soapbox on that. But I really needed to fulfill myself. And what I did during that 3 months was I found a way to figure out, what do I even like to do? Suddenly my answer to what do you want to be when you grow up wasn't a profession. It was actually, I want to be happy. And during the pandemic, prior to that, I had this bracelet that said grateful on it, because all the books you read about happiness say you have to be grateful. Okay, so I have a grateful journal, which does not make me feel very grateful that I have a chore to do. And I'm supposed to write down all the things I'm grateful for. I have this job with bosses who are mean to me, and having to play in rush hour traffic to and from. I'm exhausted, but I'm alive, so grateful. What I started to realize was being grateful for people who are not grateful for you is not that happiness-inducing. So I changed the bracelet, and during my mental health break, I put on a bracelet that said badass. And my son would say, why do you swear on your bracelet, Mommy? I said, well, it's not a swear to me. For me, this is a mantra for how I want to start taking control and being purposeful with the things that I do with my life. And I still had no idea what to do, but I started doing job interviews. And they would ask me questions like, well, who does your makeup? And I said, me. Who pays for your makeup? Me. Then I realized, why am I talking about makeup for a job interview? It has nothing to do with makeup. But I realized that they had no idea what journalists really did, that we were storytellers at our core, that we could take, complex information that we just learned about that day and spit it back out to the community. And that's a huge skill. And we can do video production so much cheaper than a lot of video production firms. We also can do PR, way better than a lot of other PR people, because quite frankly, we've been on the receiving end of a lot of bad pitches. And I just thought that there's a lot that we could change about that industry. Now, there was a reason why I didn't go into PR. I didn't want to be in a cubicle, but hey, the pandemic now meant that I could work from home. And I wasn't even excited about that, because I once had to work from home on TV news, and quite frankly, that was terrible. Trying to go live with your dog, your 2 kids, in a house that was not made to go live from, and it felt like it was like toys everywhere. I did not have a nice bookshelf. It was very difficult. So I said, never make it ever again. I want to come in here every single day. So I wasn't really even looking for a reason to stay home. But when I kind of verbalized this out, took that time to really give myself and answer that question for myself, I realized there was an opportunity here, and here's where the ADHD is a real benefit. I'm impulsive. So I just filed for an LLC. I had a friend that helped me make a website on GoDaddy.com. It's pretty easy. And I launched newspaper marketing with a video that I made on my iPhone and just edited myself. Well, within a month we had 12 clients. And many of them were stories in companies that I had covered in the past who said, we want you to keep telling our story. And it was so wonderful to know that I had made an impact, even though news always made me feel like I wasn't enough, and I wasn't doing enough, and I wasn't worthy of a promotion or the big job, the big role that I wanted. Here people were telling me, no, we believe in you, and we want to pay you to tell our story. So it was pretty exciting. And in that moment, I realized that, wow, this could be what my new dream is. I didn't even know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. In fact, I didn't even think I could be an entrepreneur because I am terrible at math. Thankfully, the universe, right, it shouldn't be this hard, people. I knew that would be my greatest Achilles heel in business. But then I got a phone call from this friend of mine who was back in the day, whose husband, I tried to get a job at his company, and then he told her that I was thinking about starting my own company in PR, and she had been in PR for the last 15 years, but also burned out. Mom of three kids under the age of 4, and they wanted her to be in Boston from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and she just cracked 2. And so when she called me and gave me some advice, I said, well, what have you been doing at Bruno? And she said, well, I actually was in charge of client maintenance, invoices, billing, all that stuff, and basically running this team. And I said, oh, all the things I'm bad at. Excellent. I said, when are you looking to get another job again? And she said, well, it's September, so I'm really not needing to get anything that pays me till November. I said, so you don't need to be paid till November? And she said, no. I said, do you want to be my partner in business? And as silly as that sounds, it was the best decision I ever made. I call her my freak in the sheets, Excel. She's amazing at Excel, guys. So what I want to tell you today is you don't have to be good at everything. You have to be good at some things, and you can bolster that with people who are good at other things, and it's so critical. Now we have a team of 2 partners. My friend Michaela here has come on as our first employee. We now have health insurance! So things are going well, right? So you'd think I have this answer. What do you want to be when you grow up? It's completed. I wanted happiness, and now I'm an entrepreneur. Yay, happy story. But plot twist, when you're home and you're working from home, you realize that now you have time to look at other things in your life. And I thought it was just work that was making me unhappy. Nope. I realized that cute guy I started dating, got engaged to, got married to, and had the perfect wedding. Yeah, I didn't like him that much anymore. That's tough, guys. I realized that we both basically wanted other things, and we were now, and here he had let me kind of languish for so long. I remember him telling us we couldn't get health insurance through his company because it was too expensive. Well, I just got health insurance with a company with 4 people, so we made that happen. Now, getting a divorce, when people say, well, what did he do to you? What do you want me to say? He didn't beat me. He did spend a lot of money that I didn't know about, but that's another story. It's amazing how guys don't think that that's a big deal either. Well, you surely can get over that. Oh, 3 credit cards I didn't know about. Now, this is vulnerability, guys. Like, no one likes to talk about this stuff. And some people would tell me, don't tell anybody about your divorce, especially with this new business. We have a lot of women clients. I don't like this. I go, I think they're going to love this. I think it's the first time in my life that I'm actually doing things that I really believe in, what I really want to do, and I now have a new answer to what I want to be when I grow up. It's so happy, but it's unapologetically happy. And I think that's incredibly important for women because we are constantly told we have to make other people happy. And we like making other people happy. It's nice. People like us more when we make them happy. We certainly want our kids to be happy, so we make a choice that inherently really turns their life upside down can seem incredibly selfish. And believe me, I've heard it from everyone. But I believe that you put on your own mask. And I believe you have to live, you have one life to live, and you have to be happy. And you have to be unapologetic about that. And that new vocation for me to be unapologetically happy has completely changed so much in my life. I think that how I run Newsmaker, I want my employees and my clients to be unapologetically happy too. I want to make sure that I'm serving them in a way that makes sense, but is good for both of us, right? I don't have to bend over backwards and, exceed what I promised to them. Now that's not a good deal for both of us, right? So when we're in business sometimes, we always want to please everybody, but you have to have it be balanced. What I care most about is my team. I want them to be happy too. I don't want to be a boss like what I had before that was all about, the end goal and not caring for the people that get you there. That's critically important to me. So, I didn't follow any of my book, guys, so sometimes I just go off talking. God knows, how do I even read this? It's funny, I gave this speech somewhere else, and this made sense on that day in my brain. Today, not so much. But what I want to tell you is that with that new idea of what do you want to do when you grow up, I really think if we as women think less about the job description or being married, a milestone, whatever it is, being unapologetically happy looks different for everyone. And maybe you are unapologetically happy in your life right now, and that's incredible. And I'm sure you had to make some great decisions in your own life. But what I want to tell you is we need to applaud each other for those great decisions. So often people, when I tell them I'm getting divorced, they say, I'm so sorry. And I said, say congratulations. Yes, say congratulations, because when I was at my lowest low, I couldn't see the road ahead. I had no idea how I would even find happiness, let alone dig myself out of the depression that I was in. But now I realize that the unknown is not as scary. The unknown can be beautiful, wonderful, exciting, sexy. There can be a lot ahead of you that you don't even know. For example, if you don't know the answer to what do you want to do when you grow up, that's okay too. You don't have to have a life vocation from the point of when you were a kid all the way to, when you're finally leave the earth. You can change course. You can be unapologetically happy. And what I want you guys to know is that in my life story, vulnerability has always been something I lead with. Being a pageant girl in the former Miss Massachusetts, people say, you're so intimidating. So I would use vulnerability to make myself less intimidating. I didn't think I was very intimidating, but I would find that people liked you more. But then that also can be a little bit of a detriment too, because then you're not confident in yourself. And now as a business owner, I only want to employ people that are capable, right? So there's a fine line between being vulnerable and not seeming capable. But I think we know in our hearts of hearts, if we believe we are capable first, and then we lead with our heart on our sleeve, it leaves us open to disappointment and pain, and that's what we're trying to protect against. But even in the most painful moments, there's an opportunity to grow and learn and do better, and to discover new realms of happiness. So now I'm really happy. I'm not blissfully happy, and no one ever really is, but I'm on the road to really doing something that I'm really proud of. Newsmaker marketing has exceeded my expectations. I couldn't even dream of this dream. So letting things come to you and not trying to be so intense about doubling down can really be a great course of action. And I would have thought that was crazy back in the day, because I just thought you had to make things happen. Kind of look and see where the universe is pointing you. And be curious. Give yourself that break, baby. My mental health break was such a gift to me, and I was actually pretty proud of it even when I was doing it. I remember I was on a vacation with my family, and my parents were Toyota dealers. It was like a Toyota vacation with other dealers. My mom was mortified when people said, well, what are you doing right now? I said, I'm on a mental health break. And she's like, what? Why are you telling people that? I go, I think more people should be telling people that. There's nothing they should be ashamed about. The best medicine sometimes is taking a step back, right? And the other thing I learned from my mental health break is there's only one other job that you actually have to make people happy, or happier, and that's a therapist. So unless you're a therapist, guys, you do not have to make anyone happy but yourself. And if you're a therapist, congratulations, you're really good at making people happier, and we're really grateful for you. But just know that that's really the only job that is part of your job description. And it's really important that you make yourself happy first. And if you can fill your own cup, you can give back to your community, your family, your friends, and then you really find out who your real friends are too, which is critical. So that was not the speech I was expecting to completely give, but I hope that in my own vulnerability, in my own sharing, that you kind of got something out of it. It's not the life track that I expected to be living, but I'm really loving it, and I'm really not afraid of uncertainty anymore. And I think that was something I really had to confront, and being able to take that break, to talk it out, talk with therapists, and figure out why I was so trying to control every moment. It's impossible to do. So I had to let that go, and I had to let go of some people's expectations of what was right for me. And I'm much more unapologetically happy now. Thank you, guys.
You walk away with this as a winner, but you're a winner to us, and we hope that you will enjoy this.
I didn't know I would pay for it.
Jack will be here afterwards, so we're going to do a photo with her, so I want you to stay around for just a minute. So before I let you go, I want to say a huge thank you. Today, due to your generosity, we collected $865 for the graphic artist. Thank you, everyone. So generous. So really sure that